Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
It's The In Show, Australia's only show dedicated to innovation from Adelaide, Australia and across the globe.
Hi, it's David Grice and Troy Sincock at the Tonsley Innovation Precinct for Hybrid World Adelaide, an exciting new technology festival for South Australia. The weekend kicked off with a load of great activities too. Z-Town, a 4-hour event where Colour Run met Call of Duty, saw an immersive game of survivors versus zombies with hundreds of players armed with Nerf blasters. The strategy video game taking over the world, League of Legends, was super popular once again, and Mod Robot Design Studio kicked off teaching the fundamentals of robot movement. Plus, there was the 5 Decades of Games retrospective featuring consoles from the 70s to today, and it brought back a whole lot of memories. And David, who'd you catch up with the Hybrid World Adelaide today?
Well, today also wrapped up the Hybrid World Adelaide Lab, where 15 companies pitched to win a share in $85,000 of grants from Tech and SA, and we'll be announcing the winners a little bit later. Barjo and Rad from ABC Me's Spawn Point were in town. There were game building challenges, and by far my favourite was the retro gaming area where I got to play my favourite games from when I was a kid. I'm joined by Irene from Riot Games. Irene, what brings Riot Games into Hybrid World?
So the South Australian government introduced the Hybrid World Adelaide to us, and we thought, this is a cool event about, the future and the past coming together. And they approached us to, run some sort of event for Adelaide, and we thought this might be a great opportunity to run a high school and university tournament. So that's why we're here today.
So the tournament, is it a particular game that they're playing?
Yes, so the game that they're playing is League of Legends. It's one of the top PC games around the world, and it's played by over 100 million players.
This tournament, is this part of a global tournament at the moment, or is this just a specific tournament around Hybrid World?
This tournament was designed specifically for Hybrid World and for the high school students here. And this is the first time we've actually done an event in Adelaide, and the reception so far has been really positive from students and teachers.
So tell us what's going on for Riot Games right now, apart from organising tournaments for Hybrid World.
So right now, as we speak, the World's 2017 tournament is happening. So essentially, the best teams from around the world have gathered in China to see who is the best team for 2017.
And there's a lot of prize money at stake too for the winning team, is that right?
Yes, part of the prize money is actually from the community. They get to buy skins, and a portion of that is actually goes towards the prize money. So we're looking at least $1 million prize money there. Wow.
Hybrid World as an event, how have you found it? I mean, is it something that really unique that you've never seen before?
I've been to a number of conventions, but what I find unique about Hybrid World here is the actual site, Tonsley. Like, this is such a interesting, unique space that I've never, normally see at a convention such as this. So it's been really cool.
Have you got around to see any of the other things that have been going on this weekend?
Unfortunately, I've been busy running the high school tournament here, but I'm hoping to catch some virtual reality later on today.
Thanks so much for joining us on The In Show.
Thank you so much, David.
I'm with Max from the Adelaide portal. Now, I've just had an experience where I talked to some people in Gaza. Absolutely amazing. It was like I was standing in a room with these folks. Tell us what got this off the ground here in Adelaide and why it started.
Absolutely. You're right. It's an absolutely brilliant initiative. It's one that was brought to South Australia by Renewal SA under the Hybrid World Adelaide umbrella. And it's a concept that was started by a firm called Shared Studios. They had, I think, a beautiful idea that whilst we get greater and greater technology, we always get devices that stand between people when we're communicating, or the boxes. So they had, I think, a very humorous idea of using a box, a shipping container, of which there are now 38 around the world. And within that box, you put all of the top technology at our disposal in terms of communication. And you then hide all the communications technology you can to reduce it to a communication, a conversation like you and I are having right now, without any technology between us. It enables the most humanist interactions you can imagine. So for the last few days, without jet lag and without air miles, I've been to Iraq, I've been to Afghanistan, I've been to Milwaukee to a men and boys detention center to speak with a guy, Lewis, who's a 42-year-old black man who is terrified of racism in America. I've been to people in Texas who are on the border of Mexico who are terrified about the prospect of a wall. But people all around the world who share our concerns, and to be able to communicate with those people without the media, without a government initiative, and without the diffusion that time and travel allow, has been so moving at every turn.
So you told me earlier about some of the stories you've been hearing from many, many people around the world. What are some of the most moving ones that you've experienced so far?
So the first that really got me was Gaza. We asked a teenage boy what the headline in the newspaper was in his town that morning. And the headline was that for the first time in 11 years, there are 3 governments that have governed Gaza and Palestine for the last 11 years will unify into one. And you imagine how important and how key a moment like that is in Gaza. To speak to Lewis again in Milwaukee about the protest of taking a knee, and to have an ex-convicted black guy in his 40s who actually was ambivalent about the protest. He said, yes, it's a good thing, but it's also a very bad thing to see the protest against the flag, and to realize that if he is ambivalent about it, the whole of America must be actually split, completely riven. And it's fascinating to eliminate media, as I say, and just have a one-to-one communication with someone that gives you a very different perspective.
And what I loved about it as well is the way the camera is set up. It's actually when you're looking and talking to somebody that's on the left-hand side of the screen that you're looking at, they're looking back at you, the same way. Like, that's just fascinating. So it's actually like I'm looking into somebody's eyes, but they're on the other side of the world.
There are people that will listen to this who will say, as I did when I was recruited to the job, yes, but it's just Skype. And it really isn't. But the fact that it really isn't is such a nuanced difference that it's not even possible for me to explain to you. You know that it isn't, I know that it isn't. And if you experience the portal, it's such a moving thing. And I can't quite put my fingers on why it is so moving and why it is so different from Skype. The basic tenets of it, I suppose, are that you're connecting with a complete stranger, that because you're in a box, if you're in a land which has communication limited by government and culture, you kind of regard it as a safe space. So you're able to talk about things that you wouldn't have otherwise spoken about in public and to friends. And there are a couple of other small things that just make a huge difference when you're inside there, that mean that the communication you get is so honest and so transparent.
So the portal's down here at Tonsley. Is it staying here or is it moving from here?
No, it's being used by Renewal SA to be the first spark of new life and placemaking at the old Royal Adelaide Hospital. So it'll move there within the week, and then as soon as it gets there, it'll be my job to do as much outreach as I can and to make sure that we're pulling in as many people as we can. I think the most important part of its role over the next 6 months, and it's something that's a very Aboriginal thing, ironically, and that's the whole process of storytelling and telling people around the world what's happening in South Australia at this very important time, learning about other places that have gone through such a similar change, and expressing our culture, expressing our life to the world. So we'll be doing that from a place that's going to be the focal point of the new Adelaide.
Well, you can see there's been plenty of activity down here at Hybrid World, and I'm thrilled now to announce the winners of the Hybrid World Adelaide Lab that's been taking place over the last 2 days here at Hybrid World. 15 companies were selected to participate in 2 days of workshops and mentor sessions. The lab finished today where we saw these companies do a 5-minute pitch to a panel of judges, and up for grabs was $85,000 in grants from Tech and SA. The 6 companies that were declared winners for the Hybrid World Adelaide Lab this year were Bliss Creativity, Livestock Labs, Rogue Lumens, TC Pinpoint, Vox Ventures, and the winner of the main prize of $25,000 in grants thanks to Tech and SA was a company called RHS, who are doing amazing things in cancer research. Well, that's all from me today, pounding the pavement here at Hybrid World. Back to you, Troy.
Thanks, David. What a great start to the weekend at Hybrid World Adelaide. Well, that was the In-Show podcast from the Tonsley Innovation Precinct. The In-Show is a Hybrid World Adelaide media partner. Subscribe on iTunes and check out theinshow.online. More inspiring minds and innovation from the Technology Festival again tomorrow on The In-Show.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.